Well, good evening, wherever you're watching around the world. It is great to have you joining us once again for European Cricket Studio Live. I'm Vinny Sandhu, also known as Mr. Maximo from the European Cricket League, which is, of course, the Champions League of cricket in Europe. Now, don't forget to tune in at 5 p.m. Central European Time, Monday to Thursday, to catch all the action. So 4 shows a week, and we've got some super interesting guests and personalities coming your way. Well, if you've been paying attention to the show so far, you would know that Tuesday night is the Maximo Show, where I interview a cricket personality, and I'm particularly excited to have a larger-than-life character joining me tonight. So if you do have any questions for our guest, then we'd love for you to drop them to us at European Cricket on Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag EC Studio, or you can just message them to me at Mr. Maximo. If you have anything you'd like to ask during today's chat, please put it in the comments, or you can use the question bar function down at the bottom of the screen, and hopefully we'll be able to get to a couple today as well. But don't forget that today's guest will be back for our interactive hour-long Maximo chat on Thursday this week at the same time, where we'll be getting to many, many more of your questions. And this week, we'll actually have more guests stopping by for a chat. So don't forget to join us again on Thursday night at the same time, because that's your chance to guide the conversation where it interests you the most. Well, my guest this week, he was born in South Africa, but his journey over the past decade has seen him bring his talents to the European continent. Many of our viewers might only know him as the Flying Bus from last year's ECL, where he represented Svanholm, the Danish champions. But there is so much more to the story, and he's joining us tonight from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Please welcome Eugene Moleon.
Hi there, Max. How's it going? You all right?
Fantastic to see you, Eugene. And geez, you're looking amazing. A bit more hair than I remember. But how have things been going for you lately?
Well, I've decided to grow my hair with this lockdown period that we're having, and hope everybody else is safe out there that's watching. So I'm growing the hair, growing the beard, trying to keep myself active. We're allowed to go for a bit of running, so that's about it that I'm trying to do.
Sure. Now, look, the first question, I think, on everyone's minds that's probably watching today, they'd remember you most recently from being part of the ECL representing Svanholm. So tell us a little bit about what the European Cricket League was like as an experience.
It was a great experience. It actually starts with a team gathering at the airport and then moving on. But the overall experience of the ECL was something that I enjoyed. Very surprised by it, the logistics, the organization of it. I think the guys worked really hard in pulling that off, and all plaudits should go to those guys, the organizers, for putting it together. Even Mr. Weston himself getting something like this on the global stage, which is brilliant. And it was really enjoyable just to interact with other teams as well, because all the teams stayed together in the same complex, which was great. So besides the cricket, there was a lot of camaraderie as well with other players.
That was something that was really special about the tournament, wasn't it? Being the first stage of it and bringing people together. And of course, almost everybody, they weren't professional cricketers either. They were just people that had been plying away at their trade in these countries where cricket isn't so much of a recognised sport. And so really, it's one of those cliches, but cricket was the winner, wasn't it? And I'm sure you've made a lot of friendships from the ECL.
Oh, yeah. I've made a lot of friends from it. It was just short of a week, but it was a great experience, great week. Just meeting different people just on and off the field was really great, and it was exciting buzz. But yeah, as you said, it was, as we said, it was club cricketers coming together on the stage to showcase their potential and their sort of trade that they can bring. And the performances were quite good to see. There were some really good catches. Not going to talk about my I had a dreadful week in the field, but
we'll get to that. Don't worry about that.
But it was good to see these guys and giving them this opportunity to perform on a stage like this.
Yeah, and look, we loved watching you. Now, we're going to have to get this out of the way fairly early, because there was a moment, it was actually in the semi-final as that was coming to a conclusion, where you were fielding at third man right in front of the commentary position. I was there with Philip Barkstadt, and a chance flew high and to your right. And I think we've got it here. And this is where I had been calling you the bus, actually, because of your impressive physique. No other reason than that. And this is when you became the flying bus. And talk us through what was going on here.
Well, it was one, I think we performed not to our best on that day, but I got stuck at third man, which I never really do. This thing came, this ball got hit. And, as you stand as a cricketer, playing so for a long time, it's one of those things where a catch can come at any stage, no matter where you're on the field. And that's sort of the mindset that I have. And when I saw the ball coming and I didn't do much for most of the game, I thought this could be a chance, and just thought, I'll just fling myself at it. And unfortunately, I got a good hand to it, but it didn't stick. It's one of those that's either they stick or they don't.
Well, you did get a good hand to it, and honestly, it would have been. There were some fantastic catches and some really good runouts actually in the tournament. A lot of direct hits, but I think it would have been the hands down the best catch of the week. So we were a little bit disappointed in stick, probably not as disappointed as you were. Now, this is just now there were obvious comparisons. Now, at the time, I did kind of say that you were 6'8" and 400 kilos, which perhaps was a bit of an exaggeration. So how tall actually are you? I'm just curious.
I'm 6'4", 193 meters, 1.93 meters. I'm just under. I'm glad to say I'm just under the three figures of 100 kgs, as they put it. So, lockdown has served me well. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of training and stuff. So that's where I'm at the minute, yeah. But you say about my height, I always thought Pavan, when we saw Pavan walking around, I thought he was the big guy. But yeah. No.
Well, it's funny. We've just seen Dan Weston, the ECL founder, saying it would be one of the all-time classics. But half for one. And that is true. Like, you are the flying bus. What do you think of the nickname, the flying bus? Does it irritate you, or have you embraced it now? Because I don't think it's going away.
Nah. Once we got back to Denmark, my club mates still kept calling me that, which was great. It was good fun. It's one of those things that stick. And I enjoyed the moment. It was a good moment with yourself. There was a bit of interaction even while you were commentating, and sort of the crowd got into it as well, which is great, I think the crowd is part and parcel of what cricket's all about as well.
Yeah, the crowds on the last day were fantastic for the semi-finals and the final. It was a real atmosphere. All the other players that hadn't made it to that stage had stuck around and really created a really warm, friendly place to play cricket. Yeah. And of course, because the ground was so small, the crowd was really close to the action as well, weren't they? So they had a really, really good view of your catch. We see Harish there saying that he saw it from behind. He thought you caught it. Well, I thought you got a full hand on it. Now, this is... coming to the next thing now, we're talking of all-time classics. The obvious comparison to me is here now. Do you remember a guy called Dwayne Leverock in the 2007 World Cup? Now, this is something for the viewers here. Now, we've put this up here. This is my little segment today called Who Shook the Earth Better? This is Dwayne Leverock at the 2007 ODI World Cup playing for Bermuda. And then down the bottom, we see Eugene Moleon, 2019 European Cricket League. As we say hello to Niraj, welcome. So you tell us what you think in the comments, guys, because both of these did register on the Richter scale. We put the Richter scale down in the bottom corner there. But unfortunately, now looking at Dwayne Leverock, I think the comparison was a little bit unkind to you, I have to say, Eugene. Because he's saying not even cracking three figures. Which is interesting. So that's something for our viewers. And if you want, you can get in touch with me and let us know who shook the earth better. I don't know if you're used to making the earth shake wherever you go, Eugene, but it certainly was a moment that we'll never forget in the ECL. Now, one thing that interests me actually about you is that I kind of figured that your sporting journey didn't start in the European continent, and in fact it did start back in Africa, but your sporting journey didn't even start in cricket, did it?
No, I did athletics for quite a number of years leading into it. I always belonged to a cricket club sort of in my teens, but never really played because of my athletics taking over. And that was like, I did sprinting, I did 100 and 200 and long jump, and like I was happy enough to represent my country in that. And then sort of at the age of 18, sort of turned up for a game at Avondale, which was against a touring team. And then I think I got about 60 odd in school and got 3 wickets. And there was a guy there representing Western Province Academy, and he says, look, would you want to come to the academy and train with us. And I said, yeah, no problem. And that's where it all started. But it was the quickest 3 months experienced in after that. So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, well, we see the photo on the top of the screen. You might be able to see it there, Eugene, of you during your athletics career. Now, it looks like you could have run 100 meters in about 12 steps. But apart from that, I felt we were looking at this photo feeling really sorry for the other people in the race. It looks like they're at a bit of a disadvantage. But behind you looks like you might only have one leg as well, which wouldn't make it too easy. But tell us how quick, for example, how quick could you run 100 meters?
The 100 time, my quickest was 10:22, which for a tall guy is not, well, they used to say when we were running, tall guys are not built for 100 meters, but that was sort of my time, and that will always stick with me. So I try to use that in cricket when I turned professional for that. But yeah, I did 100 in 10:22 and 200 in under 21 seconds, which I'm sort of proud of. So I see Carl Lewis came up, and that was one of my idols growing up.
Sure. Yeah, it was an incredible fact about you that I wasn't expecting. Firstly, that you had this athletics background and that you did that mostly growing up. And then you had this really quick transition, didn't you, because of that performance into the domestic setup in South Africa, where you ended up playing probably for a decade or more in the domestic setup and had quite a bit of success.
Yeah, like when I started playing, like I said, I signed my first professional contract when I was 19, and then toured India for 2 months with a very good South African under-19 team, which had the current South African coach in it, Mark Boucher, and Ashwell Prince, who's one of my best mates. So, yeah, it was a very quick turnaround for myself. When I came back from the under-19, I went to England onto the MCC Young Cricketers staff, and that was a very good experience because you played against county second sides mainly, but it was really good experience. And then coming back into a Western Province team that had the likes of Gary Kirsten, Herschel Gibbs, Jacques Callis, H.D. Ackerman, Brian McMillan played. Wow. Guys that you're really, like, I was sitting on the grass bank watching these guys, and now I found myself playing with them and being in the same dressing room and stuff. So it was a really, like I said, the 3 months following, it was really great, and something that I'll never forget.
Yeah, what a steep learning curve. Yeah, to be just taking up cricket professionally and to have, like, I think you mentioned that top four there. Say it again. It was Herschel Gibbs, Gary Kirsten, Jacques Callis, H.D. Ackerman, also still South cricket. I think you said Brian McMillan as well was in your team.
Brian McMillan was in our team. We had Merrick Pringle, who was the king of swing back in the day. Davey Rundle was our off spinner. Paul Kirsten, I don't know if many of you know him, was a brother of Gary. He was our keeper. I mean, there were South African players coming out. There were Craig Matthews, who had the longest run up ever, I felt. But yeah, so it was great. And most of the time I was 12th man and having to run on with drinks and give it to him. But it was still a massive experience learning from these guys as well. But the interesting thing also always is that you get given these new balls at nets, and Herschel was something else, and he would just hit you to all parts. So it was, even then you couldn't be off with your lengths and lines and everything, because you'll certainly pay the price.
And how close do you think you actually got to cracking the national team of South Africa in that period? Do you think that there were times that you were pretty close to national selection?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think South Africa is blessed with a number of cricketers then and now. But I just enjoyed playing at the highest level that I could possibly play. The late Hilton Ackerman always said when I was in the National Academy, it's something he said that will always stick with me. And he said to the group of guys over there, he said, you'll either play at the highest level, international level. Guys, you'll either play at the highest provincial level, or you'll either play at the highest club level. So I always looked at that and said, look, if that's the highest level that I'm going to be at, just make the most of it. And I'll encourage everybody, just whatever level you're at. Yes, it's good to having goals, but to have them realistically, and just try and, wherever you find yourself, just make the most of that opportunity and just enjoy it.
And that's really good advice. I think that's something that a lot of people, not only in Europe but all around the world, could do well to listen to, because sometimes the cards aren't going to fall in your favour. Or I know as a wicket keeper, I always had a few quite good wicket keepers in front of me where I lived. But as you say, if you can just enjoy the highest level you can play and challenging yourself, and with a bit of luck, I mean, obviously there's a bit of luck involved in everything, but you obviously really appreciated your cricket journey and where it took you. And actually, when you were in South Africa, I think you said you had, when you were in that setup, you played tournaments like the Hong Kong Sixers, and I think you mentioned playing the Super 8s in Malaysia as well. So you have had some sort of international experience?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, you still represent your country. The Hong Kong Sixers was a brilliant tournament. I've said it a number of times that the ECL was one that can really rank up with that tournament, and or maybe even better surpass that. But it was a great opportunity to represent your country, even in that competition. And then you get to travel. Malaysia was quite great, and in the Super 8s, I mean, it was then a 6 counted 8 then, so
it wasn't great on the old. Too easy.
It wasn't great on the old figures, no. But yeah, it's good going on these journeys, and I think where we have reached now is my turn to give back, and hopefully give the next youngster, whoever that may be, the opportunity to realize what it takes to possibly get to higher honors.
Sure. And look, before we move into your time after your playing career and your plans for that, talk us through, and this is something else I learned, just prior to the 2003 World Cup, you actually played the Australian team who ended up going on to win that World Cup. You played them in a practice match before the tournament, right before the tournament, didn't you?
Yeah, we played them at Potchefstroom, and a warm-up game was a 50 over. I'm happy to say I got 3 for 35, 3 for 36 in that game, and the 3 guys I got out was Gilchrist, Hayden, and Pickle, who had a very good World Cup that year. But the thing that stands out for that was the Australian guys, and I hope the South Africans who are listening are not going to crucify me for what I'm saying, but they were a great bunch of guys on and off the field. When the game was finished, we went in the dressing room and sat there for hours, and as a provincial cricketer at the time, it was great just listening to these guys, giving us feedback as to our cricket and what they think, and obviously where they're going as well. And we always asked them what their goals were during the World Cup as well. But I think the thing I got most was that they enjoyed that moment. They had fun even while they were playing. They played the game very hard, but they had fun doing it. And I think sometimes we as professional cricketers forget that there's a real fun aspect of it. Yes, there's a lot at stake now with cricket, but you should really enjoy that moment that you're in. And I think that's something that I got from that Australian team that year. But there were some great names in that dressing room, so something I'll always remember as well.
Fantastic. What a story to be able to tell your grandchildren as well about sharing that time with them. And as an Australian, I've got to thank you, because obviously you spurred them all the way to winning that World Cup. And so I didn't know that it was Eugene Moleon that set him on that path. So, and here I was. We were all ready to blame Warnie's mum at the time, if you remember, because he had to go home after the drug test scandal.
Well, during that game as well, I remember facing Warne, and I was happy enough just to lap him or doing that. I didn't want to hit him out or whatever until Ricky said, Brett Lee, can you warm up? So Brett Lee was swinging his arms, and I didn't quite fancy facing him then, but I did as well. So it was good. Now you got to test yourselves against these guys. One of the best leg spinners that the world has ever seen, and obviously one of the quickest bowlers in the world at the time as well, in Brett Lee.
Wow, it's amazing stuff. And of course, then we know you playing for Svanholm, who were representing Denmark last year. So tell us about how you ended up going from South Africa and ending up in Denmark.
Yeah, so Jeremy Bray and myself are quite good friends, and Jeremy Bray is the national captain of Denmark, and he gave me a call and said, look, would you like to come and coach at Svanholm? And I said, look, never been to Denmark, why not? And it was great. I got there, eventually had a few issues with a few things, but that's how I ended up there. Great bunch of guys, learned a lot about the culture, learned a lot about the cricket, the way they go about their things as well. And And I think this is all good. I mean, as a coach, you need to know all these things and all these different characters and stuff and how to put that together if you are in that position. So it was a great time. I enjoyed it. And the lads, like I said, were a good bunch of lads.
Yeah, well, there's a few Svanholm-related questions coming up. We might get to those at the end. But I'm very interested to hear now that you're actually coming to us from Northern Ireland. So tell us what's happened post-ECL, and how do you find yourself in Ireland at the moment?
Yeah, I'm based mostly here in Ireland. So most of the work that I've done is over here. So I've been involved with a club called Estonians for a number of years, and still on not a professional nature, but I still do a lot of one-to-one stuff with them. But I also do a lot of work with Cricket Ireland, as in a coach educator, doing coaching programs as well. So I help out delivering those programs and doing the assessments and stuff like that. But most of the things I do is one-to-one, and then I'm going to be doing a lot of charity work as well with an organization called Reverse the Trend, which we're gearing towards working with kids from 4 to 16. Basically not just sporting wise, but trying to get them to make general life decisions and life skills decisions. So it's not, like I said, it's not a sporting program as such. It's just trying to create the best overall child as well, making decisions. That's
a very admirable thing, and that's another thing that I didn't realize about you.
Yeah, I have to say as well that I'm sort of an athletics coach as well. I'm an athletics coach, so I work with a group called Hollywood Runners. So we do. It's just a social group, and getting people off the sofa and just getting them to run. But I do work for athletics now as a sports coach or athletics coach as well.
And I'm sure you're more than qualified to fill that role. Now, just before we move on to your plans for the future and these kind of things, now don't forget, just to everyone watching tonight, Eugene will be back on Thursday. So please send us through questions. If there's something that you'd like the Flying Bus to answer, then we're more than happy to ask it for you. You can either can DM us here at European Cricket, or you can message me, Mr. Maximo, and if you like, you can use the hashtag ECStudio. So we love the questions, and we had some real good ones last week with our guest, Jason Berendorf, including one, I think, from a youngster saying, what's it like to be famous? So maybe you could get the same question, Eugene, this week. Now, there's one thing I do want to show you. Now, this is poor Yelt Skonheim from VOC. Now, tell us how to hit a ball this far, Eugene, because you actually owe us for that one, because I don't think we found that. It needed a passport because it left the European Union. Have a look at this one.
Well, if a ball's in your area, it just has to go. I think it was mentioned quite a number of times there in that week that hitting straight is probably the best way. But yeah, it was one that's in your area and you just think, right, it's got to go. And sometimes you overhit those. Thankfully, I just kept my balance a little bit better. I could do a little bit better with that. But yeah, it's enjoyable when it does go. It's always enjoyable. And that's what the ECL created is that opportunity, even the small ground and seeing the balls fly all over the place. So, I mean, I watched that final as most of us did, and it was some really serious hitting that the Rotterdam boys did that day.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that Yelt was so thrilled to be hit by the bus that day, but I don't think we'll forget it. We were giving him some on social media a couple of weeks ago when that one resurfaced. And of course, that game against VOC, many called it the game of the tournament as far as the quality of cricket played and the closeness of the contest. Now, we'll have some questions on Thursday, Eugene, but we do have a couple that have come through tonight. And just briefly, if you'd give us a couple of quick answers. Now, a couple of people have asked Gilchrist and Hayden, and perhaps Bickle, how did you get them out? Everyone wants to know.
Okay, Gilchrist, I got out with a slow ball because I had a wee back of the hand slow ball, which is most of the balls now, but wee back of the hands. Hayden, I got nicked him off, and then Bickle, I got caught on the boundary because he came in at the back end of the innings. So I will remember that for as long as I can even tell you how many times I beat punting with on the outside edge, like so. That would have been one of the nice ones, but that's how I got those three out.
And you must have had a bit of pace about you then to be troubling these top-class batsmen.
Yeah, well, if you asked Darren Lehman, he thought, no, I should have bowled a lot quicker. because he kept giving me stick in the dressing room about it. And he says, I saw you running into ball and I thought it would come out a lot quicker. But yeah, it's one of the things not regrets, but I did a tendon in my shoulder, which obviously stopped sort of some of my pace. So I had to really focus on swinging the ball and being really accurate. So yes, you let go of the pace, but then you're always thinking of something else to improve, and that's what I had to do to keep playing at the provincial level.
Well, are you sure that was bowling that you hurt your shoulder? Wasn't carrying all the drinks as 12th man, was it? Back in the late 90s?
Could well be that as well. Could be that as well. There's a few interesting fines meetings as well after the end of that. So 12 man's important in that duty as well.
As you know, anyone that's been with a cricket team at the top level, any level really, it's the people around the team are part of the team, and they're integral to the success of the unit. Now, just very quickly, in about 20 or 30 seconds, there's some questions about how far the Henriksen brothers, now they put in some pretty good performances in last year's tournament.
Yes.
How far do you think that they can take their cricket?
Extremely. I mean, there's no end to thinking where they can go. I was very surprised and pleasantly surprised to see Mass hitting the ball like he did. Leading into it, I've always heard about him, and that tournament just really put him on a stage that, I mean, he was one of the better guys that we had. Can really bowl quite nicely. Very athletic guy, super fielder, can get run. I think he's a great all-round package for Denmark. Jonas is a little bit younger, can hit the ball as well. I think he just needs to back himself and back his ability a lot more. And I think he can get there. You didn't see him bowl that tournament, but he's got a really nice action as well. So as a brothers, they fit the bill quite nicely, and hopefully they'll play more for Denmark in years to come.
Oh, well, thanks very much, Eugene, for your time tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again on Thursday. We'll be answering more of our questions, so don't forget, all the viewers as well, make sure you join us again on Thursday at the same time, and we'll hear some more from the flying bus, Eugene Moleon. So bye for now, Eugene, and see you Thursday.
Thanks. See you guys.
All right, guys. And just a reminder to all of our viewers here, what is coming up now. We've got this very exciting initiative at the moment at www.ecn.cricket. We've got the weekly quiz, and it's open this week at 6 a.m. So it's actually open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. So make sure that you get on 6 easy questions, and there's actually clues in the European Cricket Studio during the week, which will help you with that weekly quiz, supported by a painter. So if you'd like to win a new pair of fantastic cricket footwear, then make sure you enter our weekly quiz at our website, www.ecn.cricket. Stay up to date with all the latest announcements. And it's been a big week in the European Cricket League with some big announcements last night. All the opinion and the facts of what's going on with next year's tournament can be found at that place. Now, coming up in the next couple of days, tomorrow and Thursday, we have our 1 hour interactive chats, this time with more guests and more interaction. So join Michael McCann tomorrow at the same time at 5 o'clock European time in Central Europe for This Is McChat with his guest Joe Gatting, former county player, now captain of Swardston, the English qualifiers for ECL 20. And then, of course, we'll have the flying bus back on Thursday at 5 o'clock, and he'll be my Maximo chat guest. And we've got a few other guests as well coming for you. So any questions you have, these chats are all about you. We want to get you involved and know what you think, what's on your mind. And do you have any questions about cricket or comments about cricket, ways that you'd like to see cricket played in Europe or even around the world? But for now, on behalf of all of us at the European Cricket Studio, thank you for watching and see you again soon. Don't forget to follow us at European Cricket so you never miss a live broadcast in the studio. But for now, this is Mr. Maximo, and until next time, wherever you are in the world, keep hitting them high and handsome. It's goodbye for now.